What Allah Azza wa Jal gives us is a summary of the things we run after in life. And He begins by saying, "I'lamu," you had better know. You had better know. It's a commandment from Allah for something for us to realize. But the things He says are really obvious. But perhaps there are things that we don't take into consideration when living out our lives. He says, "I'lamu annama al-hayatu ad-dunya la'ib." Worldly life amounts to nothing more than play. I didn't understand this ayah properly enough until I became a father myself. As our children are growing up, there are needs and there are wants. We all know that. And our children, when they're born, all they have are needs. They need to drink their milk, they need to poop, they need to get some sleep, and the cycle begins again. But as they get a little bit bigger, a want comes into play. My child who's 6 months old, 9 months old, a year old, they really want to play. They want to be held, thrown up and down, tickled. They can't just sit there and eat food and go to sleep. They want to play peekaboo. They want to play. It's a desire naturally that comes into a child. I remember like a crazy incident that reminded me of this ayah. There's a place in America that every sister here knows about. It's almost a religious obligation on Muslim sisters to go once a week to Target, right? So I was fulfilling my religious obligation, taking my family to Target, and I was in charge of at that time, our first son, Walid, or Imad rather. I forget names all the time now. I just call him number 3. Number 4, sorry, 4, come here, So anyway, Imad was like 2 years old at the time. And boys, when you take them to the grocery store, they just want to knock everything over in the aisle because it's really entertaining for them to watch you pick it up and put it back. So I need to keep him busy. So I go to the toy section and there's this giant ball. Huge, it's bigger than him. So I take it out and I say, "You do this, son." So he takes the thing, he kicks it. And he goes over a little bit more and he kicks it. And he goes over a little, and he did tawaf of the entire Target this way. It was awesome. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to follow him around. And he's getting exhausted. He's sweating. The diaper is starting to smell suspicious. But and he kicks it one more time and he falls to the floor. He's just sitting on his bottom like this. And he's staring at the ball. And he's breathing heavy like, I'm coming. And he gets up and he goes and he's about to kick it again until my wife found out and she picked him up and said, "What are you doing?" And he goes in her arms, passes out the second he gets in her arms. Because the most important thing to him at that point was what? Play. It's a phase we go through in life. But then a new problem is added to our lifestyle. Allah says, "I'lamu annama al-hayatu ad-dunya la'ibun wa lahwun." And things that are pastimes. Lahu is actually used for things that aren't technically useful, but they are entertaining. They're entertaining and they get your mind off of work. That's called lahu, technically. Our children get a little older and it's not just games. It's not just, peekaboo and, let's play tag or hide and seek. Now you want to add something more and we call that entertainment. Tell me a story, Abba. Hey, can I watch the show? Can I watch Sesame Street? We watch Sesame Street. It's okay, I have a fatwa. But anyway, so can I watch Sesame Street? Can we watch this? Can we watch that? Can you tell me a story? Now that's not playing. What is that? That's entertainment. It's the next phase. It's a new desire that's been added to the arsenal. And of course that entertainment and playing and entertainment combined together is now the new video game industry, right? There are stories and there are gameplay that are combined together. And of course the biggest consumers of those things are children. And of course the huge consumers within the Muslim community are children that are buying video games that are way above their age level. So NC-17 video game, your 8-year-old is coming to you and telling you, "Mama, I really need to get Grand Theft Auto for Eid. And if you just get me this one video game, لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ, we will be among the righteous if you just get this one game for me. I promise, I'll fast every day," etc., etc. So now there was games and there was entertainment. Allah adds a third dimension, wazinatun, and beautification, beauty itself. Tazyeen actually means beautification. Zina means beauty itself. Beauty itself becomes an obsession. You know what that means? That means puberty hits. That means you become a teenager. That means you start become really obsessed with how you look. When you were 10 years old, 9 years old, you didn't care if your shoes didn't match. You didn't care how you got dressed. You didn't care how anybody else dressed. But now that you're 13 years old, sister, you spend 45 minutes in front of a mirror fixing your hijab. And one side of your hijab is higher than the other. And you're slapping your head as hard as you can. And it's not going down. And your mother's knocking on the door saying, is everything okay? Yes, mom, it's okay. Etc. And then on the other side you have guys, they can't grow facial hair, but they really think they can. So they're staring really hard in the mirror. It's coming, it's coming. Oh, I see one. Right? And then there's the guys that have the whole beard, but they want to make the perfect pencil. You see those things? It's a work of art. It's so fine. Work of engineering. And they'll spend a lot of time doing that. Even the guy that's like shaved his head and he's bald is checking himself out in the mirror, going like this. I've seen young men walk to the masjid. They're walking to the masjid for Jumu'ah and they stop and check themselves out in every car's reflection. It is so entertaining. Especially if you're sitting in the car and they don't know. It's really a lot of fun. But anyway, zina, beautification, it becomes an obsession. You want to look beautiful. You're attracted to others that are beautiful. You want to be in a beautiful looking car. You don't invite people to your house if you don't think it looks beautiful. If your dad drives one of these old busted Chevys or something, you ask him to drop you off 3 blocks before the high school. You would rather walk it rather than be seen in that thing, right? Because you're obsessed with beauty, with fashion, with clothes, with interior design. You start decorating your room at that age. You you want to get a car. You want to get a nice looking phone. You don't care if it's functioning well or not. You want a nice looking phone. And then you want a nice cover on it too. This is zina. It's an age you go through. And then this passes too. Because if you see, a point comes, you become college students, high school age passes, you're college students now. You'll notice college students look like homeless people a lot of times. Right? The hair's all over the place. They don't brush their teeth. They show up to class just sitting there in t-shirt and pajamas. Or whatever, they just roll out of bed and go to class. They don't care. All they care about is graduating. Really serious students. All they care about is the GPA, and the internship or whatever else, right? And why do they care about that? Because a new desire has now taken place. And I'm not saying that the previous desires disappear. What were the previous desires in order? Can you tell me? What was number 1? Playing. What was number 2? Entertainment. What was number 3? Beauty. Here's number 4, showing off to each other. وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ. You want to be able to tell someone you mean something. So somebody comes over to you and they're asking you for directions to the convention and you're like, yeah, and I study at NYU. I just need to know where the convention center is. Med school, actually. Nobody cares. You just get your job, you get your first job, and they offer you a job ID, like you got a job at a prestigious company, I don't know, Walmart or something. But you get your job and they give you your badge and you stick it out. You make sure you stick it out so people see, oh, you work there? Oh, yeah. They give me a parking spot in the parking lot. I took a picture of it. Here, check it out. There's a pride. You want to show people what you've accomplished. When people graduate, what do they get? They get a diploma. And what do they do with their diploma? They stick it in a drawer somewhere where nobody will see it. What do? They put it up on the wall. So people walk in and they see it. It's your pride. You want to show people what you've done. People take a picture with a famous person and they want to show others. Hey, look at that. Honest to God, I feel like a statue sometimes at this convention. People come over, brother, come here, I need a picture with you. The guy doesn't even say salam, man. He doesn't have a picture with you. And I get scared, like, okay, don't hurt me. You can take a picture. But anyhow, so now we're at the point where your desire is to show people what school you go to, where you graduated from, what job you have, your first apartment, your first car. A car is about showing people what you got. Right? You have that innate desire, and Allah put that in us. There's something in us, and people want to, especially young people, they're coming out of the cocoon. They're not under their family anymore. So now they want to show the fact that they're grown adults and they're living on their own. So it somehow comes up that they have their own apartment, even if nobody asked. It just comes up because they're really proud of the fact that they're living on their own. Or they're really proud of the fact that they leased their first car or something, and it just kind of slips up and it comes up, even though nobody's interested.